Well, we always like to begin with an amazing fact, and I'm going to get my little clicker here that will take us through some of these things. From the very beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible, we hear about a kingdom called Babylon. Now, if you have your Bibles on your phone, or if you've got a hard copy of the Bible, you might want to turn to the book of Daniel, chapter 2. Not far from the middle of the Bible there, Daniel chapter 2. Let me give you a little amazing fact about Babylon. Ancient Babylon had a massive impact on world history. It was a center of earthly mathematics, astronomy, and technology innovation. The Babylonians invented the wheel for work carts and chariots, sailboats to trade on the Euphrates River. They created cuneiform writing records. Babylon also developed a unique numerical system based on the lunar calendar with 360 days, which is, by the way, the same calendar as the Jews. Make a mental note of that, because a year with 360 days comes up later in understanding time prophecies. 30 days in a month is how they calculated units for measurement, and this is why we've got 60 seconds in a minute, and you've got the number 60 is all through the Babylonian calculations. They also divided the starry heavens into 36 constellations. I'm a pilot, 360 degrees to a circle. And we use that in mathematics now. They were excellent mathematicians. Interestingly, now don't miss this, the Babylonian sacred square is composed of 6 boxes by 6 boxes with the number 1 in box 1, number 2, 3, 4. When you add all those up, 1 through 36, it comes to 666. Babylon appears in the book of Revelation. And I hope you don't know what a roulette wheel is, but you know a roulette wheel has got 36 numbers on it. And if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to 36, it comes to 666. 666 is a very unique number. Did you know if you add up the first 6 Roman numerals, you know the Roman numerals I, V, X, so forth, adds up to 666. So this is going to play into prophecy, but that's just to whet your appetite. So the zenith of Babylonian history was during the reign of someone by the name of Nebuchadnezzar II. We don't know much or hear much about Nebuchadnezzar I, but Nebuchadnezzar II was an extremely intelligent, well-educated man, a master military man, and an administrator, and he can also be brutal and ruthless, which is one reason he was able to conquer, struck fear into everybody. The zenith of the Babylonian Empire was from about 612 to 539 BC. And Nebuchadnezzar, in about 597, he came, and that was his first invasion of the land of Israel. During that time, he carried away about 10,000 captives. Among the captives that he carried away from Israel back to Babylon, there were 4 young men. By the way, this had been foretold by the prophet Isaiah to King Hezekiah. Hezekiah was told by Isaiah, "Your sons that issue from you will be carried off to the kingdom of Babylon and made eunuchs." And this is exactly what happened several hundred years later. So just a little map on the screen here for those that are watching to give you an idea of the extent of the Babylonian kingdom at its zenith, touching on the shores of 5 major oceans. Now, while we go through the prophecy tonight, I want to make something very clear. We're going to be talking about the major empires of the world that were foretold in prophecy before they existed. And the reason these empires are highlighted is they all occupied God's people that were then Israel. And this was also the crossroads between 3 continents of Europe, Africa, and Asia. So they saw this as a world empire because they controlled the trade between these continents. They were fabulously wealthy. So at the zenith of his power, and Nebuchadnezzar, he had an incredible passion for building. So he's building, how many of you have heard of the 7 wonders of the ancient world? The only one that still survives today are the pyramids of Giza. Karen and I were there a couple years ago. Yeah, was it just last year? Oh, time flies. And they had things like the Colossus of Rhodes and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. One of the seven wonders of the ancient world, according to Herodotus, the historian, was the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar married a girl from the mountains, and Babylon is a plain. She was constantly homesick because there were no mountains. He said, I will build you a mountain. She said, but there are no trees. He said, I will plant trees and mountains and flowers. And he built these beautiful, exotic hanging gardens. And some of the ancient historians say he had found some method to pump water from the Euphrates River up and irrigate it so there were waterfalls coming down from this man-made mountain that he had. So you have the picture in your mind, this massive kingdom, very powerful, very opulent. One historian says that it was 60 miles around the perimeter. That's bigger than Los Angeles today. It was huge.